Hey guys, it's time for your favorite Friday. I guess you could call it a show. We like to call it a show. It's your favorite Friday show, the Retro Buzz, and I'm here by the master hoarder himself, Glenn Palomino, Planet Tomato, Planamento, and his mug.
Gotta have the mug.
You gotta have the
Beautiful
mug.
mug.
Angel, one of our
Angel, thank you
guys.
very much, man. Beautiful. Thank you.
It's a beauty. I like the way you have that set up too.
Don't put your eye out.
Yeah, he's gonna. I was waiting for that. He was gonna. That voice you heard also, he's back from his trip to CES. He beat up John D and got himself a nice new jacket. We've got Mr. Cool
And I
Toy
also
Douglas.
have a pretty mug, thanks to
Oh,
Angel.
there it is. There it is. We've got the mugs here. Angel did a really good job on these mugs with
You did. Let's
the
get them all up
logos.
there. Get them up there.
All right, we'll get them up here for Angel to take a picture of or a screenshot of it. So thank you again, Angel. If you guys don't know, he does this ability. It is the marquee, the light up marquees that you guys can get. And he does a really good job with it. So he is out there. We got a packed show, guys, today. Arcade One Up. John D will be with us later. But we've got some exclusive news hot off the presses right here from AtGames. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go through some of the first released firmware here. And I want to roundtable a little bit, try to go through it and see what your guys' thoughts are on these features. And also, community, you guys put your thoughts in there, as I'm sure PK and the team would love to hear the response. So, coming up here for the firmware on January 22nd, this is when it'll be released. We've got lock settings page. Now, this is something that, if you have kids or if you have a dog or anything like that, you don't want them getting into and messing up your system and getting into settings that they shouldn't get into. Or like my kid, he would end up using up all my at games minutes that are on, and yeah, so you can lock them out. Network check tool in the settings, save, load, rewind on more games, improved Wi-Fi, reduced Bluetooth lag in client mode. Now, I know this is something, guys, that a lot of the community members have asked about. Glenn, what's your take on some of the new improvements that are going to be coming here in the next week?
Well, you always know my take on it. I like the fact they have options. Whether you use it or not, doesn't matter. They're giving these abilities out there. And I do think the lock settings are a
Pull
really
your
welcome feature
microphone
to have.
down. Pull
Is
your
my microphone too high?
microphone.
Is it? Oh, this one right here?
Oh,
Like
there
that?
you go.
There.
Say it
I
again.
feel like an American pilot. So I always feel more is better. It's better to have the option than not. And I do like the ability for the parental controls or just the lockout controls. Period. Not that anyone in my place comes in and changes things, but a lot of people have. They have kids and they go in, they turn it on, and start messing with stuff. I think it's just a good thing to have. So for me personally, I'm glad they added it. I personally won't be using it, but I'm sure a lot of people out there would be using that feature.
Doug, what about you?
I think the lock feature is pretty handy, especially for those people that maybe have their cabinet kind of where they want it and it's kind of dialed in and they don't want their friends to come over in a drunken stupor and maybe mess with their settings or like you said, kids, things like that, uncontrollable things. You don't want people going in there and just jacking your system all to heck. So I think that's pretty cool. And then the updated lack of, you know, delay with the Bluetooth, that'll be the biggest improvement, I think, on this firmware update specifically, just because that is kind of a headache that we're experiencing now with some of the Bluetooth connectivity. Some of it's delayed, some of it just doesn't work. So it's kind of hit or miss with some of the Bluetooth connectivity. So I'm anxious to see how that translates in this new rollout.
And the save, load, rewind, I think, is a really good feature. I think a lot of people have been looking forward to that. But Doug, you made mention. I'm going to let you kind of dialogue this a little bit. You made mention about the Bluetooth, and if you guys haven't seen this video today, I hijacked it from Doug's YouTube channel here. But he actually did a video on the Fire Stick, Doug.
Yeah. So the Fire Stick, if you're not already aware, it's a pretty very capable device. It's very affordable, anywhere between 25 to $50, depending on what version you get. But it's very powerful. It's capable of playing a lot of current generation games as far as mobile games and things like that. And the Fire Amazon TV stick store has a built-in game store where you can go in and download games. Some of them are free to play, some of them are pay to play. But you can now integrate this Fire Stick with your AtGames Legends Ultimate Arcade cabinet and connect it with Bluetooth via the latest firmware update that we got this week. So this just kind of opens more and more options out there for people to play a different variety of games, different games that didn't necessarily come on the cabinet, and some other games that people may or may not ever have any access to. So you may have a Raspberry Pi or an Odroid that has thousands and thousands of games, but I guarantee you there's still going to be a bunch of these games on this Fire Stick store that you've never played or you don't have on your Raspberry Pi. So again, this just kind of opens more options and more gameplay experiences for users to play on their Legends Ultimate Arcade cabinet.
And I only
But
played
more importantly, can you ask Alexa to get an order of dog food for you and have it delivered?
Oh, I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. I Alexa's a dangerous woman. Like I keep her unplugged more often than not in my household, just because I already got enough boxes showing up on my doorstep Monday through Friday. So I'm afraid if I kept her plugged in 24/7, just how much more purchases that would end up on my doorstep.
Well, I didn't play the whole video in its
Smart
entirety,
man.
but I wanted you guys just to get a sneak peek. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Um, and he kind of goes into how to do it if you want to do it. And Doug, correct me if I'm wrong. There's like a 3 point part series that you're going to do with that.
Yeah, so there's many different ways that you can play a variety of different games on the Fire Stick, and I just figured I would do 3 different videos, kinda difficulty levels because some users are gonna have better experiences than others as far as their technical know-how. So I'm gonna be doing a beginner level, an intermediate level, and an advanced level, and all 3 will have a different way and method to play different games on the Fire Stick.
Awesome. So
Excellent.
let's get on to the next version. Or the next version that's going to come out with that games on the 29th. So we have the custom background image. I know this is something we all wanted to be able to do with branding. We wanted to be able to put our own branding on it. System health check and settings, which is always good to find out if your hardware is working properly or if you have any kind of issues in that realm. Trackball support for Dragon Gun in ArcadeNet. That's something that's been requested, I know, by the community. So to let you guys know that AtGames is listening to the community, that's why it's important that you guys put your feedback in the chat room here or on YouTube, wherever you're at, based on this, so they can take it and go, wow, they really like that, or oh, can we add this to it? Um, Also, some more improvements to save, load, rewind on even more games, guys. So even more cool things, no pun intended, coming in on the 29th. What about you guys on this? Doug, we'll start with you. What do you think is the big killer there?
So the very cool one is the trackball support on Dragon Gun. Obviously, that gun or that game was built for light guns. So to be able to mimic a light gun movement with that analog trackball support is going to give you a much more enjoyable play experience as opposed to the joystick. It's currently playable now with the joystick, but it's just not as dialed in as you'd want it to be with that kind of trackball and or real actual light gun support. So that's pretty handy. And then expanded versatility with the rewind games. I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row. So that goes to show that we're probably going to have tons and tons of games with this rewind feature. So all those games that you currently find yourself falling off a cliff or dying repetitively, you can now save save yourself a little bit of headache and worry and hit that rewind function and learn from your past mistakes. And then of course the background image, I think that's awesome. That's something we've all been hoping and dreaming for. That way we can customize this cabinet even further.
Glenn's been waiting for the rewind.
Actually, I am because I die left and right. But I pretty much agree with everything Doug said there. You know, the trackball support in that game, is sorely missed right now. You can do it with a joystick, but it's just not the same. The rewind feature, again, for someone like me, it'll save me some headaches. And I personally am also looking forward to the background image, just to put up my logo and the back on there, of course. But again, I just really appreciate AtGames constantly listening and implementing on a pretty consistent basis. I mean, if you think about when this machine got released, not that many months ago, and how many software updates they've done to this point, it's staggering.
Oh, absolutely, especially going into Chinese New Year now. They've made sure that they have enough stuff for us to keep us happy, during their downtime and whatnot. So we've got one final firmware update that we're going to be bringing you this week. Now, there's going to be more to come when they release it. We're going to get the go ahead and be able to share that with you. But the final one here is going to be released on 2/5 or February 5th, and that's custom background music and Bluetooth on and off switch and settings, new leaderboard functions, and I'll expand on that in a minute, and save, load, rewind on all games. So the goal here is to have
Wow.
yes on all games. Now, I want to go back to before we get the commentary here on this. So every month, this is what they want to do. And the team over at AtGames has been tremendous listening to the community. And what they said is every month, the leader in a particular game with these leaderboards, what they want to do is they want to give 5 free BYOG hours to the leader of that per month. So that's something that they want to do as
That's pretty cool.
yes, and the leaderboards are going to open up to 30 games. So there's going to be, it's
Wow.
not like you're going to be sitting there playing Burger Time all the time. And also at Game Sports Group, I have these notes because I was taking them down as PK was putting them out and the guys were putting it out. But he said the at Game Sports Group that Jason Teeny does, and I apologize if I said your name wrong because I was writing quick. Um, they're gonna get behind this and do some more prizes and different events that you can participate in, whether it's a you know uh, uh, golden tea type of tournament or a burger time tournament, whatever it happens to be. You guys are going to get some advanced prizes, maybe their T-shirts, blast dongles, things like that. I don't have the details on that
Very
yet, but when I do, I will let you guys know. Glenn's chomping at the bit. Go.
Ugh. Well, the, it's just really cool that they're doing all these different things and kind of staggering it a little bit more in a controlled manner with these type of releases. Kind of let us know in advance what's going to be coming out and they're working on. But I do think that's really cool about having like a competition with these games and have kind of a prize at the end. I mean, that's just competition, which you always had with these arcade games. You went and tried to beat your friend or tried to beat some other person on the machine. They take it to the next level with surprises, and I think that's pretty cool. They're offering that.
Yeah, and before we get to Doug here, I want to put this out there. Triple Lex in the YouTube chat room says virtual keyboard. Please allow a virtual keyboard here that we can use the
Right.
trackball to move around to letters and hit the A button as your mouse click. I 100% agree. So PK, if you're listening or any of the development team, please add that function. The joystick thing, yeah, it's taken forever. Doug?
I think it's pretty cool that we're able to add the background music. I mean, that kind of completes the whole package as far as customization for the user. You got, previous week before that, we'll have background image. We've got screensavers. So now background music. So you've essentially got your own customized cab to your liking with all the bells and whistles that you want to make it say and do and sing and dance and do all the things you want it to do. But I think it's pretty cool that they're expanding the competition, the leaderboard type of thing. Like I think we're up to what 3 games right now. So to hear 30 games is very cool. Like Glenn said, one of the biggest appealing things about these older games was trying to get up top on that leaderboard, get your initials, be the king of the neighborhood, being, king of the arcade, so to speak, having your initials up top of that board. So it's cool to be able to do that on a, national/worldwide perspective and really challenge people out there and have some rewards coming your way. So like the 5 hours of BYOG, that's a nice add-on bonus, as well as things like the blast dongles. Those are some really cool benefits to playing and just challenging friends. Nice little rewards.
What do you think, Glenn?
I
Are
you
you
pretty much said everything.
Well, all I was gonna say was, so what we need to say is no virtual fighter, no any kind of like karate champ or any kind of fighting game, Street Fighter, because Glenn will always be at the bottom of that leaderboard. Just saying. Not that I've had any experience fighting Glenn on that, but you did win that
Yeah,
one time. You won that one time.
I can't even argue that. I can't even argue that. Um, I will say that I might not do too bad in Karate Champ, so I might challenge perhaps Scott in a game of Karate Champ. That's a
Yeah,
little bit of
there
an
you
old
go.
school fighting game,
There you
or
go.
Tekken. I'm actually pretty good at Tekken, so
I was
I will
waiting for you to
definitely take a
say
challenge
Tron
on
or
Tekken.
something. I was waiting for
Yeah.
Tron.
Oh, Tron! I'll kill
So
anyone in that
so
game.
can we show
At asteroids.
before we get into John D will probably be getting on shortly. We
Yep.
received a package this week that had to do with some glowing blue sticks, and I don't know if you have those glowing blue sticks handy that you can talk about that are going to be available for those that are running the AtGames machine, and talk a little bit about that, Mr. Glenn.
Blue sticks. Would
Yeah,
that
I
be
don't know.
blast dongles per
Listen,
se?
all I know
Blast
is these
dongles?
blue sticks showed up in the mail with a bunch of wires on the bottom of it, and you told me I had to use it for the AtGames thing. So maybe you could expound on that.
Well, um, we have finally on the AtGames fan page hit 2,000 subscribers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Chiscom and AtGames says, hey, we hit 2,000. We want to have another giveaway. So we're going to be giving away right now 4 Blast dongles to 4 people who've subscribed to the AtGames fan page on Facebook. So I'm probably going to butcher some of these names. That's why you know they're totally random, because I would not pick names I
But
can't
are they
pronounce.
blue?
But are they blue? I don't know. Maybe, possibly. I
Okay.
don't know.
All right. Good.
I don't
Perhaps.
know.
Perhaps
They could be.
they
I
could
don't
be.
know if they're the blue ones,
All
but
right.
they are Blast games. So in any case, we have 4 winners, and we had one person here, Virginia Albertson, who joined 7 months ago. And again, these will all be posted on the official AtGames fan page. So shoot me an IM from there, and we'll make sure these get sent out to you. So again, Virginia Albertson is a winner. She joined 7 months ago. Eric Ray is a new member. He's only been on a few days. Eric Ray. We also have Ram Ray. He joined 6 months ago. And the
That's a
final winner
sweet
for
name.
the Ram Ray, coming at you live. And then finally, we have David Ludwig. He joined about 2 months ago. So that's David Ludwig. So again, these will all be posted on the official AtGames global fan page. Shoot me an IM, and we'll get these things shipped out to you. So again, congratulations to all of you guys out there. And again, make sure you tell all your friends to join, because we still have a big giveaway on the AtGames global fan page. We hit, I forget now, was it 20,000? I
No,
totally
no, no,
forgot
no.
now how many it
Don't tell
was.
them that, because they don't want to win a Legends
You're
arcade.
listen, you're
They don't want to win it.
ineligible. It doesn't matter to you.
That's
But
well.
when we hit 20,000 subs, AtGames will be giving away one full complete, full size Legends Ultimate machine to a lucky winner. So the more people we get in, the sooner we can have a winner.
But they don't want that. They've been hearing all the cool stuff, but they don't want to hear. Talk about. I know you touched on this last week. The Tron sticks.
Well, yes. Okay, so they're currently on the way to Amazon. We have 2 things, actually a bunch of things going on now. If you're gonna they're dragging it out of me.
I'm gonna
So
drag it on to you.
right. So I sent out to Amazon the official upgrade kit for the Tron joysticks that'll work with the Legendary Ultimate from AtGames. So with this, you do have to purchase the original Tron kit, and this is an add-on kit to that. But it will be pretty much a plug and play into the AtGames machine. And once it's in there, you can hot swap it out for a bat top or a ball top. It's used as a regular joystick. But if you want to play Tron or any flight stick games, you have the trigger in there. And I sent a couple out to my fellow YouTubers here. Hope we'll get a review to tell you guys a little bit more about that. Also, in addition, and a lot of people have been asking about the version 2 trackball. The upgrade kits are going out also to Amazon. And basically, you'll transplant some of the parts from your original trackball into here, and you have basically an upgraded trackball spinner. I'm sorry, trackball. And basically, it's going to be at our cost. We're not charging anything above and beyond what it costs us to make this, to keep it as cheap as possible, so everyone out there can upgrade if they want to, go to the newest trackball. And lastly, I'm going to say that we're hoping to kick off my Star Wars Yoke Kickstarter any day now, so keep an eye out for that as well.
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that's gonna be really cool. But while you were doing that, we have our famous guest of honor, but he decided to walk away at this time. Wait, oh wait, he's sitting down now. He grabbed the peanut. I think he grabbed the peanut or something. We've got Mr. John Diamonin joining us. John D from Arcade One Up.
What's up, guys? I'm live.
You're live.
Yes, sir.
Hey, John.
Hey, what's
I'm
up,
sorry.
guys?
I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. My co-host tackled you and stole your jacket.
Yeah, what's
Hey,
up with
looks
that?
good on you.
Thank you.
You
Thank
got
you.
one of those official ones. That's usually for employees only. So you're pretty much an employee now, Douglas.
So
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
did you heal up from the wounds of Douglas tackling you to get that jacket?
Oh my gosh, it was like a double leg takedown. Took me in the air, got me down, almost choked me out, had
So
me in an armbar and everything.
so John, you agreed to come on here and talk about all the stuff that you couldn't talk about, but now that it's been talked about, you can now talk about it. So,
Well, yes, I can talk about as much as I can talk about, except for not talking about the things I can't talk about.
but that's okay.
But I'm here.
Here's the
But I'm
elephant.
here.
Here's the
So,
elephant in the room. This is what they want to
okay.
know.
Ah,
They want you to address this tweet that you had put out.
yeah.
So there's no leak
Okay.
here. This is the tweet. What is the roster looking like? You stated all but 3 players. What can we talk about with that?
What a way to start. Okay, so
Hey,
Deep breath.
I got a list here that these people have been sending me that I sent out, and I'm like, I'll be like branded on the fire if I don't put it out there.
hey, you got to take my tweets with a grain of salt, So,
Should we have looked at
Don't
David's?
tweet and Jewel at the same time, folks. Don't tweet and
yeah,
Jewel.
seriously. Okay, but all I can say though, regarding that is, we're still continuing to um, procure all the rights to all the players in the game, and it's a fluid process. And hopefully by launch, we'll have most of the players available.
Cool.
But yeah, we're working hard up to the last second, and it's possible there could be a day one patch where we have most of the roster. Now, will we have everyone? No, I don't think so. But the good thing about having a Wi-Fi enabled feature is that in case that we get additional rights to players, we can add it on via a patch.
That's cool. That works.
Yep.
And we've got. I sent you this text message while you're at CES, but again, I know you were busy, but it was somewhere that I knew I could grab it if I needed to. And Todd Kaplan asked, he said, please, the next time John D is on, please ask him about a Tron
Mm.
cabinet. And he knew that Glenn would back him up on this, and John wants an official Tron cabinet. When can we expect something like this? Is this something that is even thought about? Right. And again, I have it. You have it too. I texted it to you before. So he wants it.
To be honest with you, I don't think many people want a Tron cabinet. It wasn't that popular of an arcade game.
You're going to
You
make
may, a
Glenn
couple people
cry.
may want
Double
that.
dribbles the game. Double dribbles the game. I
Exactly.
want it.
I really can't comment much about the, games that we'll be releasing in the future, but I will say that, we're taking fan feedback and everything that we see that the fans want, I want as well. So we're going after everything. How's that? And it's just a matter of time, I think, before all your best and most favorite arcade classics uh, becomes released. So
That's
don't give up hope. And if you continue to want a Tron cabinet, please make your voice known through social media. Continue to tweet us, continue to go on our social websites, and yeah, I think a Tron cabinet could be pretty exciting.
And JC Reynolds, he hit me up this afternoon and he said, please ask John. He's working on the digital front for the riser. Um,
Mhm.
he does a lot of the modding. He says, is the riser pattern the same as the originals, or is there been changes to the riser screw pattern? He said, with the new risers are the same
Mm.
spec with hole placements as the previous ones.
That's a good question. I know that in some of our cabinets we've had different risers, specifically with Star Wars. I think Star Wars you see something, a bigger riser, because of how the control panel is situated. And we had to make the riser taller so it made it more comfortable for that particular cabinet. Um, so yes, you're gonna probably see different configurations of risers depending on the game. Does that answer the question?
I think so. I think he's trying to, because I don't know if you've seen it with JC. Glenn, what I forget the name of the company now off the top of my head.
Tulsa Arcades.
Tulsa Arcades. He makes the front logo and he puts the a moving screen in there with the logo and stuff on the riser for people that yeah. So there, Glenn's got one right there. That's a prime.
Mm.
He wants to make
Oh,
sure
that's
that
nice. Ah,
everything lines up with the pattern
right.
on it. So that's why he was asking.
I mean, as much as possible, we try to make those risers uniform. But I can't say that it's gonna be uniform for every game that we do. Right? Just in the case of Star Wars, we needed to make that one taller. that may be the case in other games as well. But I love what the mod community is doing, and I understand the need for uniformity when it comes to doing mods like that. But again, I can't promise that every riser will be constructed the same.
Todd,
But you know what? It just gives Tulsa more SKUs. How's that?
There you
That's
go.
a good thing.
Todd, real quick, and then these guys can jump in and answer. If you guys are seeing questions also in Facebook and YouTube,
Yep.
please jump in. I got another one here from Todd Rez. He says, John, why not a stand-up Dig Dug game?
Well, we have Pac-Man that has Dig Dug in some configuration, and I just at this point we don't think there's a market need for a stand-up Dig Dug. To be honest with you,
That's fair. I'm just
Yeah,
throwing out the
you've already got
questions
a
as I'm getting.
countercade, you've got cocktail cabinet, you've got
yeah,
multiple versions and ways to play Dig Dug currently from Arcade 1-Up, so I understand that.
exactly. I
Or
mean,
you can just get a shovel and go outside. I mean,
it,
why can't you do that, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, again, to be honest with you, there is already a few ways to play Dig Dug. Now, a dedicated Dig Dug cabinet, you'd have to figure out what games come in there. It's probably going to be some of the same games that are already offered. So, for Dig Dug fans, I guess their best route, if we don't make it, is to buy some custom skins.
There you go. There you go.
Give me some skin. Just saying real
Yeah,
quick, Sling Blade had posted this out there, and I think it was already answered last time. I'm just going to repeat it. He wanted to know if the NBA Jam can be hardwired to the internet, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have Wi-Fi and Cat5 connectivity, correct, on the NBA Jam cabinet?
those will all be compatible.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think Scott confirmed that last week. I think
He
when
did.
somebody
I
had
just wanted
asked
just
that.
to
Yeah, I think I made mention
reiterate
about
this.
it having that ability. So that
Yeah,
is
likely through a USB dongle. You could probably use either. We haven't decided if it's going to be proprietary or something that you could just add as a third party.
very cool.
Now, since
Exactly.
you're back from CES, you finally look like you're a little relaxed, John.
A little bit.
How was your feedback with your pinball machine out there? And how was the community and other companies looking at your pinball machine?
Well, I think everyone was pretty excited. I think Toy Shock had a good first offering, but it was kind of lacking some features that the rest of the community wanted. And I think that with the options that we'll have from day one, I don't think it'll need much modding, if anything, from the community. We've talked a lot about what the day one features are with the haptic feedback and accelerometer, ability to change out the back graphics, adjustable legs, all these things that the community has told us they wanted. So in that sense, yeah, we're very excited about it. I think the fans are. We also had Gary Stern check it out, and of course he's a purist. So I mean, he seemed to like it. We had some people from Toy Shop come over, check it out. I think they love it, or not.
Well, I mean it's
Real quick, before I forget, didn't mean to interrupt you, but and last time you said it as well, and people I think keep missing it. You will be offering an ability to change the graphics on the back glass. You said it a few times, and a lot of people I think are missing that. So you have your little screen in there, the LCD screen. Then you have the artwork, but they can swap out that artwork, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. That's a cool little feature to have. There's going to be preloaded with 10 games, and if you didn't want, say, Attack from Mars, you wanted a different Williams Valley's game, you could be able to just switch out the back graphic, and we'll probably rely on the mod community to be able to change some of those graphics out.
sorry, we're not laughing at
Do
you.
you want me to read that one?
Before you
Want me
read
to
that, you read that super chat, just
There's
before
a
you do
super
that.
chat. Let me read.
No,
there
wait,
is-
no,
there is a
don't
super
read it, John. Don't read it yet, John.
Okay, I
Don't
won't
read
read
it yet, John, because it's from your buddy.
All right.
It's from your buddy Ralph. No, we don't want to read that just yet.
Uh-oh.
Just wait. There's one other one before that. Please address the.
Ralph paying you money.
Yeah, now he's paying money to make the known release.
See, look how
known release dates. I can answer this one, but there's no release date yet because things could happen in manufacturing. Something could be broken in the chain, and I don't mean broken, but something happens where there's a shipment that got delayed because of weather or something. they can't give you a ship date. John, can you reaffirm that?
We don't have an exact ship date, but we're looking at second half of the year.
Yeah, and please address the elephant in the room before Glenn loses with Ralph. The elephant in the room. There was a big post about it today. Somebody posted said Arcade One Up stated there will be no more discounted Arcade One Ups coming in the future. Please explain how manufacturing works because people do not understand how it works and they think that you guys are saying, "Hey, don't discount that to $75. Put it back at $3.99 or $2.99."
Yeah.
Please address that so we have that documented so the post will stop.
Yeah. So pricing is all dependent on the retailers, and sometimes when you see some discounting, it's because they need to turn over products, so new A1 up products go in. But you'll also see in many cases, as you see in the website or in our fan page, like my area never gets discounted,
Nor here.
and I live in the state. Yeah, so it really is just dependent on the area that you live in, and there's likely some areas in America uh, where we need to turn over product more quickly.
And that's a fair statement. I just want them to know that you guys aren't saying, "Well, okay, in Northern California, you guys can get it for $75, but in Southern California, you're paying full price." All right, Glenn, go for it.
Okay, so we did get a super chat from my friend Retro Ralph, directed to you, John. I guess you heard from a little birdie that Arcade One Up may need some additional funding to reconfigure the giant joystick Pac-Man.
That's Ralph.
That was
That
Ralph.
was from Ralph. And I do understand these are prototypes, and sometimes people don't always see things at the time. Because I think the
Yes.
giant joysticks is a great idea, but perhaps the Pac-Man head where it's positioned might not be the most ideal. What's your thoughts on that, John?
My thoughts on that is Ralph has nothing to complain about because it looks like he was enjoying himself while he was playing that giant joystick. And I think we need an option in that giant joystick where you can turn the head in any angle you'd like. I don't know what Ralph does on his free time, but it seems like he was enjoying himself. So, I think that option to be able to turn around the head of Pac-Man is actually a good thing.
Well, and the whole point of these machines is to have a great time. So he
Yes,
apparently had a great time. So
he looked like he had a great time.
Honestly, I think those were really good products to be launching. I even said I don't know. I mean, with the arcades, it'd be cool to just have in your arcade as just as a decoration. But then Glenn, you made points about having that as a party type game, where you can get interactive with
absolutely.
it. You know,
Absolutely, and I want to ask John as well. Is that I know Arcade One Up kind of brainstorms. People just kind of think of ideas. They could approach Scott and come up with their ideas. Was that a similar type of thing? Was that something? Hey, why don't we just try doing this? And you kind of made one and just went with it, or was it something more or less thought put into it when it was coming up with the idea?
Are you talking specifically for the giant joystick or just in
And
any
this
product in general?
in this particular case, I'm gonna say just a joystick. 'Cause I know in the past,
Uh,
like with your wall cage and your counter cage, it was just kind of an idea someone had, and they kind of made a mock-up of it and showed it to Scott. And Scott
right.
goes, "Oh, it's a great idea. Let's go with it." Is that
Mm.
kind of how you kind of go with some of the designs? I know I'm not talking about the properties you guys are getting, like
Mhm,
Pac-Man or Galaga, but just the ideas
mhm.
of products coming out.
Yeah, so, we basically have a think tank group meeting, with some of the top employees, in our company. We lock each other up once a quarter, and we this is how we come up with um, our product ideas. And the Pac-Man one was invented, by one of our talented product managers, Jason Mattern, and, we were watching him play it, and we go, "Hey, you know what? Wouldn't it be better if we turned the Pac-Man head towards you?" And we said, "Yes, that's actually a great idea." But either way, it's one of those things that we like to brainstorm products, and we do take, community feedback, and we really wanna do something different, so that's how it comes up. Uh, you know, we We definitely meet regularly, talk about new product ideas. So Jason Mattern, uh, one of our most talented product managers, he came up with that giant joystick idea. Because I've never seen that. It's a novelty. We also kind of think about like what would we want in our house, what would kind of uh, look good in our man cave,
Yeah.
and the giant joystick, you know, came up. And I think his inspiration was he went to like a Dave and Buster's or some other arcade chain, and he saw I think a Tetris, large oversized Tetris game, and he goes, hey, why don't we do that? I think that's where the inspiration was.
Hmm.
Um, and
Awesome,
he,
but
and I
that's
don't
just a
think,
great
yeah,
thing. That's just a
and I'll
great thing that you
also,
guys are open to the ideas. A lot of companies are only they focus on one thing, they follow other people. Right now, what you
mhm,
guys are doing, you're trending new ways, new paths, new items. I think that's great.
yeah. And I also think Jason was probably very lonely one night when he coming up with the giant joystick configuration.
And
And
inspiration strikes.
yeah, inspiration
Well, in
started
that
coming
case,
to him.
I'm not even going to say it. I don't get myself in trouble. I'm just going to zip my lip and just sit here and I want to I want to ask one more thing, and I'm going to let other people talk for a little bit, just because I'm so excited about it. The micro consoles and the
Yes.
little small Coleco minicades.
Yeah.
I think again that's brilliant. I think it's fantastic. The community, I think, already has a huge love for the Coleco style case, so that's brilliant in its own, bringing that back. But what made you guys decide to go with? And again, I'm extremely happy with it. The small Atari and television, and
Sure.
the ColecoVision. And will there be more in that line, like a Magnavox Odyssey 2 or a Vectrex or other potential ones could be coming out of the pipeline?
Yeah. So I mean, we want to make sure if we go into a new category that we do something different. We saw with the popularity of the Mini NES and Mini Genesis and those consoles that yeah, there's a need to have something that's not only playable but collectible. And then when uh, actually another invention by Jason Mattern, he brought a prototype in. We all loved it, right? It's something that we haven't seen in the marketplace. That's doing something different. I mean, when I talk about the Mini NES and I talk about the Mini Genesis, those are plug and play items. But
Right.
what he said was like, what if we have a collectible where the TV is also included? You don't need to plug it in TV, and the TV also matched the era of the console. And we think that's genius, and also at a price point that uh, we're trying to go for. Uh, we thought it was a no-brainer. We saw it as an instant hit, and I'm glad that the fans agreed with the concept. Um, and it's funny because we go, well, I'm always wondering like how people are inspired to make these type of products. And he basically saw a handheld, and he goes, look, all this is if we saw the handheld in half, one one is a monitor and one is a control panel. And so why don't so it's basically a handheld that's kind of sawed in half and then molded as a TV and molded as a with control panel. And then we also
It's still
drew
a great idea. It's
yeah,
just a great idea because
it is.
someone he thought of that, and it is an ingenious idea, especially for people who want that nostalgia from that era.
Exactly. And another inspiration he had was this one uh it was the one piece of art that we started going around about a child's room in the 80s and 90s. It had all these, there's the space rug, bean bags, like different consoles, different posters. And he goes, why don't we create this basically all in one mini console and then also have like a diorama of like a period piece. So yeah, that was pretty cool. We are looking into different waves or different product selections for this micro console line. So yeah, we're looking at everything. It's going
And
to be something I think it's going to be.
is that gonna be like a limited type of release, or it's something that, as far as you know right now, it's just gonna be released and it's not like a limited run?
Well, we're going to try to have it available everywhere, but we don't know exactly which consoles are going to be released first. But there are plans to offer more consoles.
Excellent. I vote
So yeah,
Vectrex. Just putting it out there. Great system.
yeah, Vectrex is going to be good. I think what's going to be challenging with the Vectrex, and that's something that we're considering, is how do you make vector graphics look correct on a very small screen? I mean, there's already challenges making vector graphics look good on a regular LCD screen, and I think
True.
we've done pretty well to represent vector graphics on a bigger screen. Like if you see Star Wars, I think that was done really well. But
Very, very
doing
well.
it doing it in a small screen, it could be challenging. But if we could solve that issue, I think a Vectrex mini console is something that we definitely consider.
So I think what we'll do is we'll put a post up on the official arcade micro console fan page there, and just put a poll and see what people would like to see in the future. Might
So
not be a bad
Yep.
idea.
I have like I want to get those just to kind of set as like decoration. I know it sounds Glenn probably will
Yep.
sit there and just sit
No,
there and play.
the collectability of these things are amazing. Yeah. The thing that I thought was pretty sweet about these things is it introduces arcade one-up products to a whole another price point tier. So people that are maybe priced out of a normal arcade one-up cabinet or a partycade or a countercade now have that introductory price with these things being probably $20 to $30 if I'm just guesstimating. But it allows them to kind of get their foot in the door of the addiction that is arcade one-up. And then they can either enjoy the collectability of these, they can play these games, since these are playable works of art, essentially, it not only is a nice little replicated 80s, 70s television, it's also a functional playing device, but it allows people to, like you said, Stephen, collect them because that was my first thought. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to buy all these just for the nostalgic factor of having a wood grain TV
Yep.
on a cart
Yep.
and have it like, and I'm a super dork that collects action figures. So I'm like, wow, these scale perfectly with my action figures. I can put them around the Atari, around the TV, and it just make this awesome little scene. Glenn's super excited, as you can tell. I mean, everyone, the moment we saw these things, we all kind of just jumped for joy because this is something that no one ever expected and didn't know we needed until the moment we saw it. And then it's just one of those take my money now type moments. So, a hearty round of applause to product manager Jason for coming up with this.
And Glenn,
Absolutely.
do you want
Genius.
Glenn? Do you want to read the super chat that just came in from Sling? I can't. It's too small from where I'm sitting. You're gonna have to
Yeah, I can read it. Yeah, it's just,
go for it.
Sling Blade sent us another super chat. If I have two NBA Jam cabs, both connected to the internet, can I have a four-player game with each person on each cab playing in the first and fourth position on the cab? Obviously, in the game, two players would need to be the second player and the third for the third slot. So he basically wants to know if he could connect two of the NBA Jams for a four-player game.
Mm. Well, all those details are still being worked out. So um, why don't you have me on the show a couple weeks from now, or even a few weeks from now? And then I probably can talk more about that. But at this time,
John, we love to
we're
have you on every week. We'll have you on every week, man. You can come on all the time you want.
uh, you don't want people. You don't have lower viewership. Um, so again, yeah, those features on online play are still being worked out, and hopefully, well, not hopefully, we'll have more information as we get closer to launch.
And guys, feel.
Do I sound like
Because right,
David there?
I was just
stuff
gonna say it
stuff
was
at
David.
CES is still basically prototypes at this point. When you get stuff from CES, nothing's been finalized yet, so everything's still
Nothing, yeah.
fluid.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of CES. You just see very early prototypes with, features that may or may not be in there. Uh, but, our goal at the end of the day is to have a very fully featured product with NBA Jam.
So somebody had asked about a countercade of Star Wars. They had
Yeah,
asked if that was something that would be coming,
Wow.
and yeah, I don't know. Listen, I'm going through like Doug's been
Tiny
answering
hands.
it. Listen, guys, feel free. Like what
Well,
we're
I'm
hang
gonna say
on,
right now,
hang
it's
on,
not.
Glenn.
Guys,
Hang,
go ahead. Go ahead.
well, I was gonna say for those that have questions too, feel free because in the after show, and I'm sorry guys that didn't watch this live, you're not going to get to see that. But if you're watching live, stick around because the after show, we're going to give you the opportunity to call in and ask John these questions. So some of those things, please feel free to hang on to if you want to call in, and we'll give you the opportunity to call in and ask John, so we don't look like the schmucks asking him the questions probably that he's been asked 100 times last week. Go ahead.
What I was gonna say is, it's not as funny having a small arcade one of Star Wars as it sounds. A buddy of mine, his name is Dwayne Ringo, who has a Facebook group called MAME Arcade and More. Actually made a small, about this big, Star Wars cabinet with a working yoke. I mean, it
I've
was
seen that.
handmade, but it can be done. Whether the price point's there, and I wouldn't be surprised. if Arcade One Up or someone else came out with one at some point in time. It's not completely impossible. It can be done.
You know, if we could make it so it's playable, not only playable, it plays well, you know, we definitely consider it. I have seen that one. I have not played it. How do you think it plays, Glenn?
Well, I've seen him playing it, and it actually plays well. Obviously, if you have really big hands, it'd be more of a problem than us little nerds with our small hands here. But just another idea for thought. You could still kind of make that Star Wars cabinet playable in that form factor, and maybe have HDMI out, and they could plug into the TV set with a separate controller and use it as a desk piece as well. Just options out there. People can have it on the desk, play it a few minutes, take it home, plug it into the TV set, and have another yoke, play it that way. Maybe a Glenn's Retro Show yoke connecting via USB. Just saying. But there's options,
Mhm.
things you could do.
Did you hear that, Scott? Okay, so let's talk to Mike and Jerry to see if we could do a countercade based on Star Wars. I think it'd sell crazy
I think
uh,
so too.
if we can figure it out. I know, I think it
Absolutely.
would.
I mean, even if somebody had to
I like the idea.
set the yoke off to the side, I don't know. I still think it.
No,
Uh,
no,
It's
no yoking, no yoking about it. All truth.
uh,
yeah.
it'd have to have its own yoke, right?
Yeah.
So
Um, yeah,
somebody had asked in there,
that'd be
and I think his name is Jack Slater. He had asked about the upgraded, and I think that's how he put it. The reworked, sorry, the reworked editions of
mm,
Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat. When are they going to
mm,
be available?
mm.
Do we have a ship date on that, or is it
I don't,
still kind of?
so we did have a Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat cabinets there with lit marquees and light up buttons. Uh, this is why we're at CES to garner uh, interest from our retailers,
Right.
and we're hoping that we can find a place for those items. So I just say, you know, to be determined at this point. But yeah, I mean that's kind of our goal with you know possibly re-releasing a lot of Wave Ones and reconfiguring them, and with having different features for the people who weren't able to get the Wave Ones. Because here's the thing: a lot of times when we release a cabinet, that's it. We're not going to release it again for most of the games. But for some games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, it's possible that that you could see them in different configurations in the future.
Well, and I think that's good because I mean those two have been killer sellers for you guys. I mean everybody wants those cabinets, the nostalgia behind it. But I think I answered this question in one of the groups, and maybe you could reemphasize this. The purpose of CES is not to give anybody any kind of release dates. The purpose of CES is to kind of put it out there like this is our roadmap, this is what we're doing, this is the direction we're going with the cabinets. We're putting it out there. We're giving you like a first bird's eye view, and that's why it's not open to the public. It's mainly for
Hmm.
your vendors and making contacts with potential sellers and resellers. It's not basically for you to let the public know it's going on sale at this date. That's entirely up to you guys if you feel like you're at that point. And I don't think people understand that about CES, that you are releasing
Yep,
consumer electronics, but it's not necessarily a time where you're releasing release dates.
that's 100% correct. I mean, you see tons of products that are shown in CES that never see the light of day. A lot of these are prototypes. A lot of these concepts trying to garner interest. Some happen, and some and many don't. Uh, but again, like you said, we use this as a way to garner interest from retailers and consumers, and hopefully everything that we've shown gets eventually released.
And I think that's fair. Doug, what do we got in the chat room? Anything that's popping up that you're thinking that John should answer before we wind down the actual show part of it and get into the pre-show or the post-show? Excuse me.
So far everything's already been answered. We had questions about the revamped cabinets. Some new somebody wanted some news on Dragon's Lair or Tron. We already touched on Tron. Dragon's Lair we know is way too early to kind of talk about, as a previous conversation from John. Um, says Glenn, will you also offer a base for the yoke to mount on the arcade one-up control panel?
Actually, believe it or not, there's someone who's already working on that. It's 99 Lives Arcade. He actually has already got the mount. It's actually what mine's mounted on right now. And when we go official with the Star Wars Yoke and it's released, he's gonna have a whole bunch of different configurations to attach it to machines, to your desk, even to your baby's little stroller where they feed the babies on. You put your yoke right there, feed them, play a little Star Wars. He's gonna have everything. 99 Lives Arcade.
John,
Perfect.
Rob wants to know in their micro consoles, do they have HDMI out? I guess if you wanted to hook it up to a TV to play it.
No, and that's just purely on cost. We're trying to hit a good price point here. I think we're trying to hit sub 30. Uh, that's our goal, and to be able to have HDMI out would increase its costs. I'm pretty sure the mod community can figure out a way to do it, but right now it's not a feature that we plan on including for these. That could change if there's a way that we can include that feature. We'll consider it, but
So can I say this as on behalf of all of us content creators and to go along with that and guys that are making videos, that would be super helpful for guys like us that are doing videos of that because we could capture the screen natively rather than pointing a camera at it. So if that's something that justifies the cost, maybe to a sub $35 product, I think the majority of people would pay that knowing that it has that ability, especially the content creators, because one, it's going to make the videos that they produce for your product that much better, and it's going to give the viewing audience that much more interest because they're going to get to see what it looks like. So again, that's the selfish side of this. And I understand where you're coming from though. And
He's
Uh-oh.
speechless. He's
Yep.
speechless. You got him.
David pulled the plug. So he's back here.
Oh, he's back. Yeah.
He's back. So I don't know if you caught that, John, but to sum it all up, the content creators would gladly pay $5 more or something if they're doing content to be able to capture that screen natively. Again, that's the selfish side. That doesn't mean you have to do it. I'm just saying from that
yeah.
perspective.
No, I get it. I think we have to balance with what we want to do in terms of a price point and getting this sold in to as many retailers as possible. We're still talking about having HDMI out for these micro consoles. Was that the question?
Yes, because
Yeah.
being able to capture it, it's just going to produce that much better video from like if he can capture it and then he can get a
Oh,
picture of it.
okay. For mainly content creators, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess uh, I see the need for content creators to having those things. We're probably looking into that going forward on our bigger machines. On the micro consoles, I just don't know. I don't think so, but something I don't want to say absolutely no
No,
just
that's
yet until we go back. Yeah.
Scott wants to know about a dedicated Defender cabinet.
Scott Backrack?
Yes. Do do you really? I'm gonna put it on Glenn here because I want to see his reaction. They're like, Glenn
Uh,
is in heaven.
That's actually a game I'm actually good at. So took a lot of years though. What I would like to see is a Crazy Climber Robotron Smash TV cabinet. That's what I would like to see.
There you go. There you go.
crazy
He wants,
climber in there.
he wants
I mean,
multiple joysticks at all times.
sure.
Somebody,
Uh,
what was it? Somebody last week said about you guys creating some form of darts, a arcade one-up dart system that they could play. I guess electronic darts. I mean, that was something somebody had stated. I don't know who that was. If you're here, put it in the chat room
Sounds
so we can give you
dangerous.
credit. But that was somebody had said, "Hey, bring it up to John and Scott."
I like the idea. I never thought about that. Uh, let me talk to Scott about it and the group. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Oh, we don't want answers right now. We're just throwing it at you. This is what
Yeah, no worries.
people have been saying. I'm trying to remember everything that people have asked. But we're going to wrap up the actual show. And so if you guys
Yep.
keep your questions coming, those of you in the chat room, stick around because we'll give, John, we'll keep John around for a little bit. We'll open up, if you guys can, while I'm doing this, Glenn and Doug, if you can put the link in the chat room for people that want to call in, that would be fantastic. But guys, We really appreciate you tuning in here to this week's Retro Buzz, and special thanks to John, especially since he's been all over the place on the road and recovered, and he's back chilling in his Arcade One Up headquarters. But John, thank you so much for jumping
Thanks for
on
having
here.
me.
We'll definitely have John
Anytime.
back when there's more things to come out, and just love having him on. And also want to thank Mr. Douglas Cool Toy. Check him out,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
youtube.com,
Thank you.
youtube.com/cooltoy. And Glenn, I'm just going to say thank you to you because you have a long list, and they could find you at youtube.com/Glenn's Retro Show. Just look up Glenn's Retro Show anywhere. You'll find him. We'll be here
Just
all
type it
night.
in. You'll get a spam list of 1,000 different websites. It's fine.
So you guys make sure to check him out. And guys, you can search for me. I'm the Tech Buzz just about everywhere. We appreciate everybody coming out to us. And listen, you want to see the after shows, you got to show up to the live shows because that's when the cool stuff happens and you guys can get in on the call-in system. So we'll see you guys next week for more of the Retro Buzz.